Right, so the car is on the ramps, and as I mentioned before, we will be looking at the swivel bushings. So let's get underneath and check where they are. So we're under the car, and we have one bushing over here. So you can see the bracket, the bushing. There are two bolts holding it down to the frame. There is another one, same drill, two bolts. So they are kind of accessible. I'm not sure if there will be much room to move those bolts out, but we will give it a try. Okay, so those are all 16 mil bolts. So we're using 16 mil socket, and just ratcheting from the wheel side, and it's going not too bad. There is a little bit of room for the ratchet. Same thing on this side. So as long as they are not seized, it will take time, but you can get them off. So because the front bolt is really tough to remove, I had to remove my ramps and turn the wheel to the right, so I can use my long ratchet and get that bolt off. With the small ratchet, it was not coming out easily, so using the long ratchet for that one. Alright, so the top bolt or the front bolt broke. The other one I was able to get out. Now let's see if we can pry that bracket off. Okay, I'll just use the small pry bar. Okay, here is the bracket. Yeah, there was definitely lots of movement inside of that. So at this point we will move to the right hand side. We'll see if we can remove that one without breaking any bolts. Then we should be able to lift the bar entirely. Right, so I have started the other side, and that front bolt is moving quite easily. So one thought that might help, there are a hole, and if you stick your finger in, you can feel that bolt. So, and there are a few holes on the other side, so maybe before you even start getting those bolts out, put a WD-40 with straw and just spray everything inside. Hopefully that will prevent from breaking any bolts. Yeah, then on the right hand side the bolts came off quite easily, so we can remove the bracket. And now entire bar can be moved. So we will spread those bushings and get them out. It will be much easier with two hands, so let me do that. So there's the bolt. Luckily it's sticking out a bit. So next I will try to put a nut and try to weld it. Hopefully it will come off. So there is also that hole underneath that potentially we can use to heat it up a bit, but to start we will try to weld the nut to the bolt. Okay, so I have welded that nut on top, used some foil to protect the steering boot, though you might need to use, like I used 4 or 5 layers and it still didn't burn through, so we might need to use actually a piece of plate or something like that. Now I'll probably use the torch to heat that bolt from the underneath, and only after that we'll try to get it off. So here is my welded nut, and I broke already probably 5 times the weld. Now the only way to get it out is to actually get it really hot from underneath. So I have a propane torch heating up. I tried heating it, getting out, and I was able to do 2 degrees, and then it would stop again and break the weld. But now I have continuous flame underneath, and I'll try to ratchet it. Here's the noise it makes when I turn it. So it's really stiff. And if we don't get it out, we won't be able to get it out. So I guess if you feel that your bolt is tight, try to get it red hot so you don't break it, because it's really pain in the butt to get it out after it's broken. Alright, 3 hours later, the bolt is out. So now we can proceed with the installation. The bolts are cleaned, and we will use the other bolt with the spacer with the bigger nut. Since there was no thread, it's a little bit longer. But also, I will go ahead and will clean the thread in that nut with the tap, just to make sure that we can get a new bolt in, and next time it comes out easily. I'm just using ratchet and a tap, so we'll get it all the way in and all the way out. So the thread is clean, so next we'll put the bushing in. Just open one side, slide it on. So the bushing and the bracket is in place on this side, so we will start our bolts. We won't get them tight until we get the other side. For the bolts, we put a bunch of anti-seize on those for the obvious reason. Now we'll do the same on the passenger side. Have our bushing, open it, and actually I'll put it in over here and then just slide it in. In terms of the bushings, I will leave a link in the description, the one that I got, but there are different sizes, so you need to measure. There's I think 24, 26, 28 mil. So measure this and then you can get the right bushing. But let's get the bushing and the bracket on this side. So we have the bracket and the bushing in place. Next we'll install the bolts. Again, lots of anti-seize. So let's get those in. Alright, so all the bolts are snug right now. Last thing is to torque them to 44 foot-pounds. So we will use a torque wrench, get them torqued, and that should be it. Please like and subscribe. Check description for any links for the parts and tools that you might need. And as always, just do it yourself and do it smart.